Mohammad Afzaluddin is a highly experienced mathematics educator with over 4 decades of teaching under his belt. A first-class graduate from Osmania University, his expertise spans pure mathematics, applied mathematics, and statistics. Throughout his career, he has tutored countless students in graduation, engineering, and entrance exams, making an enduring impact on their academic journeys. Even while working in a managerial role at a bank, his dedication to teaching never wavered. After retiring, he returned to full-time teaching and completed his postgraduate degree in mathematics. He has taught at various colleges, ran his own mathematics study point under Kamil's Academy, and currently teaches secondary school students in the United States. In addition to his teaching, Mr. Afzaluddin has authored The Art of English Grammar, a book that has seen two successful editions with a third in the works. His teaching philosophy centers on building a strong foundation for his students by systematically breaking down topics, helping them grasp even the most challenging concepts. Now, we have the privilege of speaking with Mr. Mohammad Afzaluddin to hear more about his incredible journey and insights into the world of education.
Sir, I have been inspired by your remarkable career trajectory and the profound impact of your teaching. As a former student of yours, along with many others, I have found your approach to be particularly unique and innovative. Can you please start by telling us about your early days of learning mathematics? How did you shape your interest in a subject commonly perceived as complex, and what motivated you to pursue a career in teaching it?
Yes, mathematics is generally perceived as a complicated subject or a difficult subject, but once you begin and you take some interest into it, there will never be any problem, there will not be any difficulty, and you will never say thereafter that it is a complex subject. Secondly, to learn mathematics, you must have a desire to learn the subject. Simply saying I want to learn, that does not mean anything. You must have a desire to learn the subject, you must have a desire to work hard to learn the subject, then interest will automatically develop. At the same time, regarding my early days, yes, in early days when I was in 8th class or thereafter, I had interest in mathematics. I used to read several books. Even today I am reading the books, because from the very beginning the habit of reading books on mathematics, that helped me a lot to continue to work the same way, and it created a lot of interest in me also to learn new things. For example, when I was in 10th class, I knew the mathematics of higher level classes. When I was in degree, I knew the mathematics of postgraduate classes, because of learning, because of my study only. So, this is how the interest is developed. One should mind to do it, one should have a desire to do it.
Did your father, who was a well known educator himself, have an impact on your affinity towards teaching?
Of course, my father, he was not a teacher, he was an educator. He used to educate people to become teachers, and he was Maulvi Kamil from Jamia Nizamiya, studied in Arabic medium and Persian medium. Thereafter, he developed some interest in English and became a perfect person in English grammar in particular. This is how he taught us, and we developed ourselves under his guidance, supervision and teaching. As regards the question of teaching is my genes or not, yes, it is in my genes. He wanted me to become a good teacher. Alhamdulillah, I have not become a good teacher, but I have become a teacher which I would like to become a good teacher in the course of time.
Can you please explain on the inspiration behind your simplified and creative teaching methodology?
Right. See, from the very beginning, I have been concentrating on teaching this subject in as simple a way as possible to make beginners to understand easily and to have some further interest to learn the subject. Regarding students, saying it is a different way of teaching. Of course, I tried my best to make it as simple as possible, only because if the students grasp concepts in the beginning stages, then they will further improve in the same direction. That is why I have been trying to explain things, new theories, new theorems in mathematics in 10th class, 11th class and thereafter also in a simple way, only to see that students understand and grasp the subject from the grassroots.
As someone with over 60 years of teaching experience and having expertise in teaching mathematics, English, and statistics, how did you manage to develop proficiency in multiple subjects?
I would like to reiterate, I have been having the habit of reading books on various subjects. For example, mathematics, English grammar, and even Persian, and as you said, statistics. I have read several books on these subjects, and by reading the books only, it is only totally my study that makes me more and more conversant with the subject and with the needs of the students also. I must understand what the students need and teach accordingly to fulfill their expectations and to come to their expectations and to fulfill their needs also. And that is how I have developed interest in different subjects I have just now mentioned, and in this particularly in mathematics I have specialized myself in mathematics, not only in one branch of mathematics. It may be trigonometry, it may be calculus, it may be vectors, it may be tensors, it may be any other branch of mathematics. I have done all these things. I have read so many books on these subjects, and that helps me a lot to explain in as simple a way as possible for the students to understand as I speak.
One amazing aspect of your career is your transition from teaching mathematics in Urdu to teaching it in English. What motivated you to learn and master the English language, and accordingly, how did you adapt your teaching style and study materials?
It is a well known fact that I have studied entire things up to my degree in Urdu medium, totally in Urdu medium. In the beginning stages also, 7th, 8th, 9th or 10th classes also, my medium of instruction was Urdu. I have learnt everything in Urdu in the beginning. For example, trigonometry. I learned trigonometry in Urdu. I learned calculus in Urdu. I learned vectors in Urdu. Thereafter, when I found that the need of the students is tending towards learning in English, and Urdu medium schools, Urdu medium teaching was fading away, and English medium teaching and English teaching was coming up. So, I felt it necessary to change myself completely. You are calling it a transition, I will call it a conversion. I have converted myself totally from Urdu medium to English medium by learning terminologies, ways of explanation and many other things from Urdu to English. For example, I am telling you calculus, I have learned differential calculus. It is called tafarruqi ahsa in Urdu, but in English it is called differential calculus. Integral calculus, it is called takammuli ahsa. I have learnt all these things in Urdu in the beginning, but when there was a need to teach in English medium, to teach English students in English medium, I learned all these terminologies by studying various books on these subjects. And in the beginning, of course, I had some difficulty in explaining in English, but that difficulty I overcame very fast, alhamdulillah, and I could do it very successfully to my satisfaction and to the satisfaction of the students.
What fascinates you the most about mathematics, and how do you convey that fascination to your students? Are there any specific topics or concepts that you find particularly intriguing?
No, it is not like that. There are no special topics or particular topics to study. Mathematics in entirety is a subject in which students must take interest, particularly in the current times, mathematics and English are the two most important subjects, and Alhamdulillah I have been teaching these two subjects equally well to the students to understand both English and mathematics simultaneously. And as regards English mathematics in English medium, I once again say that it was difficult in the beginning for me to adapt myself or to convert myself from Urdu medium to English medium, but that difficulty I could overcome very fast, and today if I teach in English medium, nobody can say that my base was Urdu or my native language was Urdu or I learnt all these things in Urdu medium. Nobody can say that, because I have been teaching that way. For that I have worked hard a little, not only little, but I worked a lot for understanding and adapting myself to English medium teaching. It was not difficult so, but inconvenient in the beginning, but soon it became my habit and I started teaching in English. Today if you ask me to teach in Urdu medium also, you will find that I will not utter a single English term. If you want me today to teach calculus in Urdu, yes, I will teach calculus in Urdu using all Urdu terms, Urdu explanations, Urdu expressions, not using a single word of English. Likewise, when I am teaching in English medium, you will not hear a word of Urdu even by mistake. I do not utter a word of Urdu, I take care to see that. I have been taking care to see this particular thing and particular aspect for years and years, and today there is absolutely, alhamdulillah, absolutely no difficulty.
Your proficiency in English is evident from your ability to identify errors in reputed English newspapers, magazines, and even dictionaries. Can you shed some light on how you honed this skill?
My total work today, my total worth today is all due to several books I have studied on various subjects. Now, as regards particular question regarding a particular book or finding errors in books of English grammar, etc., I will tell you one thing. Yes, I read several books. When I read some books and find some errors in that, I verify those errors by seeing several other books, other authentic books, and see to it that when I find out a mistake or detect an error or point out an error or convey an error to the author, I must be very sure that all that I speak must be 100% right. Now, regarding grammar, of course, even today I have got a special aptitude towards English grammar. I am very particular about English grammar, particularly in writing and reading both. I am very particular about it. In speaking, sometimes in a free way I may speak something else, but grammatical errors, no, you do not find. While writing, of course, I am very particular to see, and when I write on the blackboard some explanations or some definitions and all that, I am very particular to see that no grammatical error even for punctuation occur. I take care for that. Now, regarding pointing out mistakes and conveying to authors, I have done it. I have done it several times. For example, when there was one book of English grammar written by Professor Jagat Singh Bright. He was professor of English literature in several universities like Bombay, Punjab, etc., so many universities. When he wrote a book on English grammar, I found that the book contained several errors, and I checked up those errors after myself noticing it from various authentic books, and I wrote to him that your book contains so many errors and it is not in the interest of students to study such books, and I saw to it with a protracted correspondence of 2 years that the book was withdrawn from circulation, and he arranged to send people to me to tell me that we have withdrawn the book from circulation and these books are no longer found in the market. Like that, some other English grammar books also, I found so many errors, no doubt, and I conveyed to them and they have corrected it, and I have got all these things written in the form of a presentation. I have got my own presentation for that, and when they have confirmed, when they have agreed that there were mistakes, this correspondence and this writing by them also I have preserved even today. Now take for example Reader's Digest. It is a very reputed magazine particularly for English language, and they commission so many books of English grammar and various other subjects, and they are all commissioned by Reader's Digest. And Reader's Digest says that our books cannot contain an error, it is their claim. I particularly read so many books commissioned by Reader's Digest. I have read many books, scores of books I have read of Reader's Digest, and in some books when I found errors, I conveyed to them. Initially they did not agree. I insisted that they refer these things to some literature heads of the department of say Bombay University and all that. I have also referred my some words, some detection of errors to professors of Osmania University. They all confirmed that the detection of my errors was genuine, and these errors were accepted by the people who committed those errors. And Reader's Digest, I have got a letter in original written by the chief editor of Reader's Digest, in which he says, I am mortified, this word he has used, I am mortified that such errors did occur in our books.
It has come to my attention that you have also a penchant for detecting errors in various mathematics textbooks and publications. How did you cultivate this skill, and how has it positively impacted your teaching?
Okay, one incident I want to narrate here. Mr. Yaqub Mira Mujtahidi, late Yaqub Mira Mujtahidi, he spent 25 years to compile a dictionary. 25 long years he spent to compile a dictionary in 3 volumes. I own all those 3 volumes even today. Now when I saw these 3 volumes in the bookstalls, in the exhibition and all that, I did not go through in detail, but I found that this book contains some errors which have gone unnoticed by the author or by the readers, and I thought I must convey to the author. He was also from Hyderabad, living very near my house. So I thought instead of meeting him, it is better to put these things in writing. So I remember I wrote a letter of about 20 pages to Mr. Yaqub Mira Mujtahidi, pointing out mistakes and serious errors in the dictionary. He replied acknowledging the mistakes, and he said those mistakes will be corrected in the future editions of the book. So here there is a long correspondence, nearly 6 months the correspondence went on, and my first letter was for about 20 pages, giving him several serious mistakes which will misguide the learners. And now you are asking about the books in mathematics. Yes, there are several examples are there, not 1 or 2. Several examples are there where mathematics books contain errors, wrong explanations of theories and wrong applications of formulae and so many other such things. One example again I want to quote here. I was in America in 2008, and I visited one library incidentally, and there I found one book which I developed some interest to read. So I took the book, sat aside in the library, and I read that book. While reading that book, when I came to a particular chapter of hyperbolic functions, I found that 2 derivations are totally wrong in that book. I noted down those derivations from the book. I noted down the name of the publishers, name of the author, email ID of the author, all those things. I came back home, I read again all those things, and I found that my detections was right, and I found that the explanation given on hyperbolic functions, that particular aspect in the book was wrong. The author was David Grubbs. I am naming him, he is no more. David Grubbs, I wrote back to him that these are the errors in your book. Within hours he acknowledged. He said, I have verified, yes, there are errors, we will correct them in the new edition, but in the meantime I am conveying to publishers to remember to include these corrections in the future editions of the book. Like that, there are so many examples, not one or two, I can quote many examples now where I found errors in the books of mathematics and English also.
What challenges did you face during your teaching journey and how did you overcome them? Specifically, were there any difficulties or obstacles you encountered when teaching mathematics in English?
I want to tell you one thing here. Yes, in the beginning I had slight difficulties, and I understood that unless I study and overcome these difficulties will remain forever. And that feeling, that thinking made me study more and more and practice more and more, above all practice more and more. For example, if I have to explain differentiation in English, which I have studied in Urdu, how I will explain? I have practiced this one in solitude, sitting alone. I have practiced myself like this to convey correctly the concepts of differentiation, for example, I said, and which I have learnt in Urdu, and now to convey in English in a way understandable to the students and also others who listen to me, for example, teachers. So I have got so many letters from teachers who said that this explanation was very unique, though you have studied from Urdu medium and now you are explaining in English medium, this is something amazing. There were obstacles in the beginning, because to get books also was difficult those days. When I changed myself from Urdu medium to English medium, to get books also was difficult, and to get books with Urdu terminologies and English terminologies and to assimilate them, yes, I had some difficulty in the beginning, but that difficulty did not remain for long. Out of my interest I learnt, and out of my interest I studied so many books. I was a member of State Library, I was a member of Osmania University Library, I was a member of many libraries. I used to go to the libraries, sit there and work out my own problems, write down the difficulties which I am normally facing in teaching. With all these things, I found myself very comfortable, and today very confident, alhamdulillah, that I can teach in English as well as in Urdu. If you ask me to teach Urdu medium, yes, I can teach Urdu medium in Urdu itself, pure Urdu, and likewise in English. So this is all out of my interest, I am once again telling you. And even though you are not asking, or you have not asked so far, I don't know about your future questions, I have got a very good library, very rich library containing several books on mathematics, English literature, English grammar, Persian, and a number of dictionaries, not thesaurus only, dictionaries. A number of dictionaries are there in my library, and I love my rich library. I call it a museum because it is not only a collection of books, a collection of so many writings, a collection of so many memoirs, a collection of series of correspondence with authors and English grammarians, etc.
Looking back on your teaching journey, what are you most proud of accomplishing as a mathematics professor? Is there a specific impact or legacy you hope to leave behind?
I can only say for the youngsters, for the young generation, that today's current times, English and mathematics are the only two most important subjects. You go to any field, for example, if you are appearing for a dental admission test, that is called DAT, or any other test you are appearing, you will definitely find mathematics somewhere. Recently I came across that difficulties are faced by people, students in dental admission test. Mathematics is there. Unless you know mathematics, you will not be able to complete a major part of the question paper. Take pharmacy for example, B Pharma, or any other some subject related to pharmacy. There is a lot of mathematics in that. Students may say we have studied biology, zoology, botany, etc., never in mathematics, and we never thought that studying pharmacy also will require study of mathematics. Yes, it requires study of mathematics and also of statistics. calculus is required for B Pharma first year students, integration is required, differentiation is required, so many things in calculus are required, and statistics is required in third year particularly, and they have now named that book or named the subject in B Pharma not as mathematics, they are calling it remedial mathematics. There are books on remedial mathematics, and these books contain all these branches of mathematics: geometry, analytical geometry, trigonometry, calculus, so many other things. Even though you may say B Pharma student who have never studied mathematics after 10th class, what they will do now? They have to learn and do it. Secondly, a few years ago, BCom students, they used to take commerce to avoid mathematics. But you will find a few years ago, they have introduced one paper of mathematics for BCom students also. For BCom students also, there was one paper of mathematics, exclusively for mathematics. And I taught that class also for so many years. Commerce students learning mathematics. They will say, we have not studied mathematics after 10th class. I said, I will take care of it. And I took care of it to see that what they have forgotten is recapitulated, and also they immediately come to the desired level.
Can you please share any memorable experiences or success stories from your teaching career? Is there a particular student or moment that stands out to you?
See, in this long teaching career of over 6 decades, yes, there were so many students who I remember or who remember me. So many students are there, and with so many students there are incidents which made me proud that my student has learned so much, even though I taught him not this much, but by his own study, by his own interest or her own interest, they have learned so much, and that definitely I felt proud of it. But if you want me to name some students now and all that, I think I should not, and I don't name such students. And take my own children, they have also got special interest in English grammar, and one of them is a gold medalist also in English grammar, in English literature. So these things, they actually you must have an interest of your own. Somebody can't force you to learn these things. Somebody can't say that because your father knows it, your grandfather knew it, you must also know it, you must also learn it. It's not like that. It's their own interest. Out of their own interest they learn. So like that, even my own children, they have learned many things which were not required in their syllabus. They have learned out of their own interest. No doubt, I supplemented their efforts, I complemented their efforts to a great extent. And in their teaching, or in their, two of them are teachers also already now, in their teachings also you will find the impressions of my teaching. All these things are there, and there are many students, not only my children, there are so many students whose teaching is clearly, visibly impressed by my teaching, which they acknowledge, I also acknowledge, because I saw them teaching the way I taught them.
Have there been any moments in your teaching career that reaffirmed your passion for teaching mathematics? If so, can you please describe one such moment and its significance to you?
One thing I want to tell you, my illustrious father, who was my mentor, he taught me Persian, a lot of Persian he taught me. He taught me English grammar, not mathematics. Mathematics was not his subject, but he taught me all these things. He was my mentor, I said, because of his way of teaching, I could develop interest in learning other things also. Now coming to the point, my father, no doubt he did a lot to develop me, and today even people say that what I am teaching is due to him. I simply agree, and I know I have to agree that it is all due to his teaching and his inspiration. And not only that, I am impressed by his teaching, I can plainly admit that I am following his footsteps, and inshallah, as long as I am able to teach, I will follow his footsteps, and that only will take me to success, I know. And for the present generation also, for the new student, for the current times, I can only say that mathematics and English, please develop interest in these two things and gain perfection in these two things. In these two subjects, if you gain perfection, you will find no difficulty in any branch or in any field of technology or mathematics or teaching or whatever.
What changes or trends have you observed in the field of mathematics education over the years?
See, the teachers earlier, they used to strike at the roots, saying that your basics should be strong, fundamentals should be strong, your foundation should be strong to make the structure on that foundation strong. Now I find these days that students find it very easy to go through some model papers and to be selective and prepare for the examination. Sometimes they succeed, sometimes they do not succeed, or sometimes they say that by studying those model papers or studying the previous year's question papers was not very helpful. But my students, I tell them it is not like that. You take model papers, you take question papers, you take any material, but first of all make yourself thorough in the subject, then you take those things, you will not find any difficulty. Alhamdulillah, this way so many students have given up depending on model papers. I am not saying do not depend on that, I am only saying that take questions from there and do it yourself, take your teacher's help, see to it that you learn those things by yourself, but not simply depending on model papers and their solutions and saying that 5 years model papers are enough to pass a particular examination. This is not going to help them in future, this is going to damage them in future.
Could you share any advice for aspiring mathematicians looking to make meaningful contributions to the field?
Only one thing, one answer for this, single answer: study, study and study. Different books on mathematics you study, you will find that by studying different books by different authors, by different professors, you yourself will develop interest and perfection will automatically come.
What role do you believe language proficiency plays in effectively teaching mathematics?
Language proficiency is required whether it is Urdu medium or English medium, because students in your class, you must explain to them in an understandable language. When they ask questions, you must answer those questions to their total satisfaction. Here the question of your language proficiency comes, whether it is in Urdu medium or English medium. Let us concentrate on my talk about English medium only. I find that students will ask different questions. When they ask questions, I notice the question asked by him. If there is an error in his asking question, I first correct that error, point out that error and see to it that he does not commit that error again. Then I come to the point and answer the question in mathematics, like that. So many other things are there, it is not possible to relate all those things right now, but I can tell you that students will definitely ask questions and you have to answer the questions to their satisfaction, and that is where your language proficiency is required. If your language is not clear or not understandable to them or not impressive, then your teaching will perhaps be not effective.
Mathematics can sometimes be perceived as a challenging subject. How can we inspire and motivate the students to overcome their fears or negative attitudes towards mathematics?
In my entire teaching career, I distinctly remember I have hardly taught ninth and lower classes. No doubt sometimes I might have taught 9th class also, but in a class or in a group of students teaching 9th class or 8th class, I have not done so far. But when they come to 9th class and I find that they are lacking some basics, I first touch those basics, correct those basics and then teach. Today also when I am teaching 10th class students and I find that they lack in basics somewhere, I stop my teaching there, first correct that part and teach them that basics clearly, explain that basics clearly and then come to the level now required. So this is how we have to do, otherwise if you simply deliver the lecture and if you simply do the questions required for that particular level, for the particular standard, for the particular class, I do not think it will be effective and students may not find interest in learning things. My students, I always see to it, even though they are in lower classes. Today for example, nowadays I am teaching 9th class students, only for a few days. But I find that when they are in 9th class, if their foundation is not made strong now, this will tell upon their further study and further work in the field of mathematics or applications.
As an experienced master educator, what changes or improvements would you like to see in the way mathematics is taught at schools and universities?
Once again, I want to tell you, the only thing is students must have desire to learn the subject. That is most important. If they have a desire to learn the subject and if they are paid to do the hard work, the rest will be lying on teacher. I take it myself like that only. I tell the students also, you must have a desire to learn and you must have preparedness to work hard. Thereafter, the entire contribution will be by my side. And in this type of experience, in this type of explanation, I have been always successful, alhamdulillah.
What are your future plans and goals as a mathematics professor? Do you have any projects or initiatives that you would like to pursue?
The plans are so many. At present, as you already know, I have been living in US for the last 3 years almost, and I am teaching there also, 12th class, 11th class, calculus, etc. And now about 3 hours teaching or 2 hours teaching only in the whole day, as against my 7 hours teaching in India. When I was teaching in India, in a college, at my place, elsewhere, etc., it was totally 7 hours per day was devoted to teaching only, sometimes more than 7 hours also. In US, I find that I am hardly teaching for 2 hours or many times less than 2 hours a day. So I am finding that I am getting a lot of spare time. In this spare time, I must do something. So I am making some study about it, and now I find that for biological sciences, there are so many books like digests and all that. For mathematics, for all entrance examinations in the country, I didn't find many books. There may be, but I didn't find many books covering all entrance examinations in the country. I have collected syllabuses of different states, entrance tests and all that. I am preparing a digest on mathematics now, and that is just halfway through. I don't know when it will be completed, but I am working hard on it to see to it that it is completed sooner than later. And that digest will, I am sure, be highly helpful for the students, because that digest, it is in a draft form now. When I compare with so many other books, I find that in my digest there are certain things which are not so clearly spelt out in the other books.
Your teaching career has spanned over decades, with nearly 3 generations benefiting from it. How has your teaching approach evolved across different generations of students, and what are the notable differences in their understanding and learning?
Explaining the basics, there is no change, because people say the mathematics that was there 30 years ago is not there now. I do not agree, I have never agreed with them. I told them presentation may change, outlook may change, but the fabric of the subject, it will never change. Presentation may change, outlook may change, just like clothes. We used to wear clothes, we used to use clothes for covering the body. Even today clothes are doing the same job. But what has changed is the fashion, is the outlook, etc. Like that mathematics also, I find that yes, there was some teaching in the earlier days and it is slightly different now. But you find that fabric has not changed, presentation has changed. When the presentation has changed, it becomes the duty of the teacher to see what kind of presentation is required these days and to equip himself to cater to the needs of the students, to give the present outlook of the subject in the present way desired by the students or required by the students.
You have recently relocated to the US and started teaching there. How would you describe your experience so far, and how does it differ from teaching in India?
Yes, I am teaching in US for the last almost 3 years now. As regards my teaching, it has not changed. It has not changed at all, and I don't think it will change. I am only ensuring that when I explain something, Are the students understanding me? Are the students grasping the subject? Are the students following the concepts? Are the students able, are they able to practice these things? That I am seeing. I am not saying that they require a different type of teaching and I must also convert myself to different type of teaching. No, it is not that. No doubt I have been teaching there, but I found that there is no change, there is no difficulty at all in communication. It all depends mostly on communication, how you communicate to them. I am teaching here 10th class, 11th class students in US calculus. The teaching of calculus in US or the teaching of calculus in India, they hardly differ. They hardly differ. But at the same time, I see to it that the students understand properly, not they say that it is an old way of teaching, there is no old or new in that. So, particularly calculus is a very important subject these days, as you know already. In calculus, particularly differential equations are very important these days. I am taking special interest and total concentration to see to it that the students understand differential calculus, integral calculus and also differential equations, because it is the requirement of the day.
Do you have any concluding remarks or any message you would like to give to the younger generation?
Continuously study, continuously practice for the young students. As much as you practice, so much you will develop and you will become perfect in the subject. There is nothing new to say about it. Now, when I have said so much about mathematics and mathematics teaching, I would like you to have a look at the collection of books in my library and also the presentations that I have prepared for finding out errors in English grammar books and all that. Now, if you see mathematics books, for example, the initial books I studied in Urdu, this is one of the books, Urdu medium book, this is the book, one of the books, Urdu book, and like that there is another Urdu book, it is analytical geometry, Urdu books, totally Urdu. I learnt analytical geometry from such books only. English grammar, Jagat Singh Bright, I have mentioned him in my interview. He wrote a book on English grammar that contained several errors, and after that he revised the book and he wrote in the preface of the book, he wrote here, I regret so many mistakes were there in the book and I am thankful to Mr. Afzaluddin to have pointed out those books errors, and he corrected those things here. And I have collected some presentations. You see here, this is one, this is a presentation about the errors found in a book commissioned by Reader's Digest. Here they say the name of the book was The Right Way to Learn English. The Right Way to Learn English. I found in these books several errors, so I named the presentation The Wrongs in the Right Way. This is the presentation about the Jagat Singh Bright first book, and this presentation also I named The Wrongs Righted. Thereafter, I had a long correspondence with Janab Yaqub Mira Mustahidi, the author of 3 dictionaries spanned over a period of 25 years. And this is a long correspondence. It is not possible to show all the correspondence here. It is a long correspondence. Ultimately, what he has written, I think it is here, I will show you. Yeah, his immediate reply, I am reading out. Received your emails. I am sorry that due to certain reasons I couldn't reply to you earlier. I am very happy to receive your email. You are the first person who delved deep into the dictionary. Your questions also reflect that you are well versed both in Urdu and English and also in lexicography. In the second edition, I will keep these things in mind. One more presentation here, wrongs again and again. This is one of the 3 volumes of the book of Yaqub Mira Mujtahidi. I have got all the 3 volumes with me. This is one of the volumes. Old mathematics books, yes. For example, this book, almost the initial books of algebra, higher algebra by Bernard and Child. This book is, I don't think it is available in the original form. New classic books editions might be there, but this original book may not be available in general. Maybe somebody like me might have collected and it may find place in his collections. This is another book, perhaps everyone knows, algebra by this one, H.S. Hall and Knight. Perhaps many people know, and this book also has come in classic editions now, but this is the original book of Hall and Knight. The original book, this original book also I don't think many people have. Maybe somebody, some people, some lecturers may be having, if they are having in their own collections, personal collections. Lastly, I wrote a book on English grammar in which I insisted that mother tongue is important. Through mother tongue, you can learn English very well, very easily in a systematic way. So, this book, The Art of English Grammar, first published in 1987, has gone through 3 editions so far. This is the 3rd edition now. 4th edition is yet to come. I am working on it now. There is a 2nd volume of this book, and that 2nd volume is found now today in the English and Foreign Language University, Hyderabad. 2nd volume of this book. There is a lot, so many books are there, you can just have a look or take some, this one now. All these books are there. This is the original book of trigonometry by Todd Hunter. This is the book of calculus by some other author, Crossland. There are so many books like that. Old books are there. They gave me a lot of knowledge, and I was greatly benefited by many such books. One more I am just showing you here. Differential Calculus by Joseph Edwards. This is the abridged volume. I have got the detailed volume also, original volume also. This new edition will be available in the classic books even today, but the original book I am showing you. That's all. Like that, there are books of statistics also. All these things are here. Urdu literature also, I have got special interest in Urdu literature. You can find books of Urdu literature also here. Urdu dictionaries also, Loghat that is called, all these things are there. In fact, it is not possible to show everything in a single sitting, but maximum I have shown. I think I have covered everything almost. A question that people generally ask me, how you have quickly changed from Urdu medium to English medium, though you are from Urdu medium base, you have studied entire thing in Urdu medium, but when you had to teach English medium, did you face some difficulties? Or when you have adopted to Urdu English medium, how you have done it and how fast you have done it? What were the difficulties in doing that? These are the common questions that I face. Now, I have got only one answer for it. It is the question of your keenness of the interest. How much interest you have in the work, that is important. Yes, I have studied in Urdu medium. I taught also Urdu medium for a long time. And when there was a need to convert to English medium, change to English medium, in the beginning, initially sometimes I had some difficulty, but soon I recovered it and I found that the difficulties were short lived and I could manage to adopt very fast in the English medium also. And today, when I teach English medium classes and explain things in English, you cannot say that I am from Urdu medium base unless I disclose it. It is like that. It is only your interest, nothing else, just nothing else. Now, for example, you see here trigonometry. In Urdu, this is ilm musallas. Some people say ilmul musallas also, it's okay. In trigonometry, you come across sin theta. We wrote jeepta, this is theta in Urdu, cosine theta. Jibut tamam ta. It is already known that after sine, cosine comes, that is complementary sign. For complementary sign, the Urdu term is tamam. Jeepta, that is sin theta, and when it is complementary sign, it is jibut tamam. For example, take for example tan theta, mamasta, tangent theta. It was contracted as masta, and for cotangent, complementary tangent, it was mamasuttamam. Your basic formula of trigonometry, sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1, which is actually a trigonometrical interpretation of the theorem of Pythagoras. Sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. In Urdu, it was japta how we read in Urdu, japta ki dusri plus jamta ki dusri masavi 1, masavi 1, like that. So sin square theta plus cos square theta was written like this in Urdu those days when we learned trigonometry. Similarly, calculus. In calculus, you come across limits. In Urdu, it is intiha, which I first learned calculus. I wrote intiha, and today we are writing limit x approaches 0. It was written like this: niha. This was la. La is for x 0. This was how we wrote in the beginning when we learned trigonometry, and for quite some time I taught also trigonometry like this. But soon I had to change to English medium, and I changed it to English medium, alhamdulillah, very successfully and very easily thereafter. Now have a look at some Urdu books of mathematics which are generally not found anywhere these days. Maybe in some old libraries, or maybe some persons like me might have a collection of Urdu books, but I have got very huge collection of Urdu books and English books also in mathematics. This is Makhruti Tarashein, conic sections. Conic sections, this is the book. You see here, these are the explanations here, like this. Parabola, hyperbola, all these things, they are there in, see here, Khat-e Zayed, hyperbola. Like this algebra book you can see here. This is actually the famous book of Hall and Knight, algebra, translated into Urdu by some professors. This is Jabru Muqabila, actually Al-Jabr wal Muqabila, Jabru Muqabila, this is the book. Hall and Knight, famous book, translated into Urdu See here, no English word, no English number is used throughout the book. No English numerical is used throughout the book. No English explanation is used throughout the book. You can see here, it is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, quadratic equation, how they wrote in Urdu. ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, alif la ki dusri, jama bela, jama jim, masawi 0. This was how we learned in the beginning, but soon it was necessary to change to English medium, so I could alhamdulillah successfully do it. One more book, there are so many like this, I am just showing a few ones. This is Tafarruqi wa Takammuli Ahsa. Ahsa is calculus, differential and integral calculus. This is the book. This is the explanations. Once again I am telling you, Urdu book means completely Urdu, including numericals also in Urdu, completely in Urdu. Some books they have given at the end of the book some glossary or terminology to be translated from Urdu to English. In this book it is not there, but in some books you will find glossary also they have given for translation of mathematical terms, calculus terms like integration, takammul, differentiation, tafarruq, etc. Last few words for the young mathematics learners. Take interest and work hard, go on reading books on mathematics or English, you will definitely improve. You may require some guidance in the initial stages, but finally when you find that you have come to a stage, you have come to a level, you will not need any guidance and you will feel interest on your own to read new books, new explanations and new things like that. English and mathematics, I always say these days, these are the two most important subjects that will take you to the heights. Commonly I am telling you, very particularly in any gathering wherever there is a need to address or there is an opportunity to address young students, I always tell them take interest in English and take interest in mathematics. These two things, these two subjects are most important these days for technological knowledge or any other work. For example, if you see medical entrance test, mathematics is required. Pharmacy courses, mathematics is required. Even in B Pharma, etc., they have got a mathematics course separately called remedial mathematics. Like that, if you see entrance test for dental courses, lot of mathematics is there, logarithms, etc. So much of mathematics is there. I had occasion to teach recently from dental admission test student DAT, that is called some DAT students. I had opportunity to teach. I found that lot of mathematics is there in that, and there is a scope to learn mathematics. Whether you have interest or not, you will get interest there at that time. That's all I want to say.